Hey everybody, this is American Idol Unaired, the singers you didn't see. I am your host, Bennett Shear, and today's guest is Bryce McGlothin. Bryce, welcome to American Idol Unaired.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, if you could just introduce yourself to everybody, since we unfortunately did not get to see you on the season of American Idol, let's get to know you.
Yes, sir. Well, hello, everybody. I am Bryce McGlothin. I'm 17 years old from Louisiana, and I love to sing and write songs and I just play music wherever I can.
Awesome. Now, when did you first find a love for music? Way before you even got on the show.
So, I mean, music's always really been kind of a part of my family. Ever since I was a little kid. Growing up, my dad was in a band actually for 40 years. He was the lead singer of a band, and watching him growing up just kind of put a blueprint in my brain, I guess you could say, for music. So I mean, I kind of grew up with it, so it's kind of destined to belong in my life, I guess. And then about 12 or 13, I got a little serious about it. Started trying to write some songs and sing a little bit more. And just this past year, my mom signed me up for American Idol, and I never really thought any much about it. I mean, I've seen this show before a couple of times. I've been a avid watcher of it because I saw Lane Hardy on the show, and and seeing somebody from Louisiana go up there was awesome, and win the whole thing was even better. And she signed me up for it, and it was just took off from there.
How would you describe your style, would you say? I mean, I know you talked about your influences a little bit and watching your dad play music, but how would you describe your style?
I'd say, my voice and my style of music is kind of a mix between, Southern rock, some country, and some, soul music. Just a little bit of all that old stuff, but that's really what I play, what I stick to.
And so when you started that audition process, you get in front of the producers for the first time with this big cattle call over Zoom. What are you singing? What's your song choice?
I sang "Born on the Bayou" by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Hmm.
Um, so I kind of picked that song because I actually auditioned the year before on
Mm,
over Zoom and didn't make it. I sang "A Simple Man" by Leonard Skinner, and I felt that song kind of didn't really show off my voice as well as it needed to.
sure.
And "Born on the Bayou" kind of shows off because I have a little higher vocal range, and it kind of shows off what my voice can do and like a little bit more acrobatics. And it's kind of a Louisiana bred song, so I just stuck with that one.
There's so many people in that first round. Is it more of just a yes or a no, or did you actually get a chance to get any feedback from the producers that were watching you?
You get a little feedback, but not much over the Zoom one. They really just quick cut.
So what was that initial brief feedback that they gave you for the first one?
Really just told me to keep my composure, make sure I don't get too nervous, and just to you know it's a lot of pressure, obviously, because it's a big opportunity and you don't want to mess it up. But just told me to really stay calm.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and I bet it felt great. I mean, to have been there before, and you're not the first contestant who has done it, more than once. And I know that a lot of people have to try out more than once. It's what you got to do sometimes, but it's a step in the right direction. Now you're going to the next round, and this time I'm assuming there's obviously less people, less contestants, but are you in front of executive producers now? Are you still kind of in the junior producer stage?
Um, well, I guess it's more kind of executive this round because the people that I auditioned for the second time were really managing us like the whole way throughout, like the whole shooting process. Like they
Hmm.
were, managing contestants, telling them where to go and where you need to be at this time and where. So I guess they were kind of executive producers because they were kind of running things whenever coming to contestants and stuff, and obviously other stuff too. So I guess the second round's kind of a little more executive.
And I meant to ask, how far did you make it last season when you auditioned?
I made it to the first round. They told me they'd email or call or whatever and let me know what they thought, and they told me I didn't make it on the Zoom.
Well, so it was already great to even make it one more round, but then let alone to make it to the judges. That's really exciting. And I'm guessing that being in front of those executive producers, making it to the judges, that had to be pretty cool to hear.
Yes, sir. Well, actually, when I made it to the first part of the Zoom, I was, I thought, okay, well, I'll get a little, a few days before the next one. But then they were like, oh, no, you're going right now. I was
Wow.
like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I guess I better prepare myself because I didn't know it was going to be happening like right there, but they just sent me on.
Did you sing Born on the Bayou again, or do you pick a new song for the next
I
round?
did. I actually sang that song through all three of the virtual rounds, and then for my audition with the judges,
Hmm. And which city did you go to for the judges?
I went to Austin, Texas.
Gotcha. I know that that can be. It sounds like a lot of fun just from hearing all you guys talk about it because you're there for quite a long time. It's certainly a lot more than just the 5 or 10 minutes you spend in the room with the judges. You may be there for days just filming and then waiting to actually go in the room. So, what was that like for you? I mean, I imagine a pretty long process.
Yeah, so it's a lot of waiting, but just sitting in in the waiting room areas and everything, and being able to talk with other contestants, and share musical interests and stories and ideas, and just that was probably the best part of the whole experience was meeting the other
Hmm.
contestants. And actually, the winner of the show, Noah Thompson, I talked to him a little bit, and we'd actually become pretty good friends there in Austin because that's where he was in the audition city.
That's really cool. I mean, especially considering that his audition was so unique and the fact that he didn't even, of all people, he was probably the most shocked. He didn't. His buddy signed him up, and he probably was just so surprised to even make it through that far. And I bet you he was telling you a lot about how it was all just so surreal to even be there.
He really lacked a lot of self confidence whenever he was in the first round of Austin.
Hmm.
He was like, "Man, I don't feel like I should be here." And I mean, I was really trying to lift him up a little bit, before I hadn't heard him sing yet when he told me that. And then we went back to the hotel where they were keeping us, and I walked down to the lobby and I heard somebody singing, and I was like, "Wow, that is unreal." Then I walked down the lobby and he was singing with another contestant named Hazy, who was actually a really good artist himself. And they were singing together and harmonizing, and it was absolutely unbelievable. Um, just his voice was amazing.
So raw for a guy who didn't
Oh
even think that
yeah,
he could make it. I mean, that's part of it. That's part of the magic of Idol. That's part of the magic of Noah.
so humble. One of the most humble people I met there.
So, any other memories from the people that you met, the experiences?
Oh yeah. When I made it through the first round of, I made it through the judges round, the first round through Austin. So I went to Hollywood, and they'll kind of separate the minors and the adults because we have to do school during the Hollywood week. So I got to meet kids my age, and they were also very talented. And Tristan Gresset, Emerson Flora, and most of the minors in there made it through the first round of Hollywood week. But I thought all of them were very talented, and just glad I got to meet them.
Whether it was the auditions or Hollywood, it is about the people you meet. And I want to go through kind of the process of filming because, as I said, like it really is more than just what we see on television in terms of even for the people that did get aired, like there's all these interviews being done and they have to take however probably ask you so many questions and then compile it all down to whatever chunk they use in the finished product. So can you talk to me about maybe some of the interviews they had you doing in the auditions, or I know they have like there's the room with the sign that says a moment like this. There's the 180 room as they call it, and that was probably a lot of fun.
Yeah, so though when we first got there, they sat us in the holding room. And they were like, "All right, y'all get ready. It's gonna be a fun day, but it's gonna be a long day. You're gonna be working. It's gonna be hot outside and everything. So just get ready." So they'll sit you there in the waiting room, and they'll pull each of a few at a time for an interview, or digital media stuff, and then they'll pull you for rehearsals and stuff like that. So then they pulled me for an interview, and you walk to a little area and stuff. It's the little nice yard they have out there, and you do your interview. And it was they asked me some really good questions. I had a lot of fun doing the interviews because I'd never really done anything like that before American Idol, because I'm in a small town, and there's not really many interviews around here, stuff like that. So it's kind of like a firsthand experience thing. I wasn't really the best at it, but I got a little. They helped me out a little bit, and then they'll send you to digital and media where they'll do some boomerangs for Instagram and stuff like that. Stuff for digital marketing, or kind of get your name out there if they put you on the show. And then rehearsals, obviously, for the rehearsal for the audition. So
Hmm.
stuff like it's actually a lot leading up to the audition. The audition is about only 5 minutes of the whole time you're there, and
Right.
all of the other time is just other stuff.
Now you mentioned the rehearsal. This is actually the first I'm hearing. So obviously, I'm sure that there's everybody's singing and practicing, and in these, you're all in big holding rooms. Everybody's got guitars, singing their lungs out. But is there like specific rehearsal time that they give you to go and practice, or?
Actually, I don't know what happened, but they did not pull me for my rehearsal. I didn't get pulled
Oh,
from my rehearsal, but a lot of other people did. Maybe a few others didn't get a rehearsal, but they actually never pulled me for mine,
hmm.
so I never got to go to mine.
Now is that rehearsal like where they just have you with producers, or I'm sure you're not meeting the
I
judges
think
yet.
they
It's
give you a
just
vocal coach, and you can play your song for them, and they'll
oh.
try to give you little critiques on it.
Huh. It's interesting. That's the first that I've heard, because I've gotten to know the audition process now. I didn't know that, I thought it was not until Hollywood Week that you guys actually got to work with band, vocal coaches. So that's interesting.
Yes, sir. It's I think they give you a vocal coach and a when you do your rehearsal. But in Hollywood Week, they have a lot of vocal coaches. They'll give you a bunch of people to give you critiques on your stuff. But I think they gave us one in Austin, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken.
Now in Austin, do you remember what day that you actually got to go in front of the judges?
Um, I think it was I was the first day auditions. I think it was a Monday. I can't remember, but I was the first day. I was in I think I was number 13, um, in the middle of it. So I was about in the middle of the order, and it took all day. They were there until about 9:30 at night doing auditions.
So when you finally went in, are you excited, nervous? I mean, a lot of probably obvious feelings,
I
but
was really nervous because I kind of they'll tell you who makes it through and who doesn't, and some people that played and performed and didn't make it through. I was shocked that they didn't because they were so talented, and that kind of got me down a little bit. So I was nervous. I was like, man, what if? I mean, that they sound a lot better than me. What if I'm not as good as them, and then I can't make it?
mm,
But then I went in there and just kind of tried to keep my composure, and I kind of had a mindset of, these are three people just like me. They just a lot more famous than I am.
a lot of people have said that they definitely seem down to earth, and at the same time, it is kind of like you walk in there and they're like these plastic figures, like they look just like they do on TV, and they're very glamorous. But hopefully it felt like they put you at ease. I mean, what was the dynamic like? I mean, were they friendly? Were they bantering with you?
Oh, yeah, they were friendly, but I mean, they'll tell you what you need to work on.
Hmm.
They'll be friendly, but they'll tell you, they'll give you tips and stuff and try to help you better yourself as a musician.
When you first walked in the room, was there a lot of chatter before, or were they kind of just ready to hear you sing?
They just asked me a few questions, where are you from, what's your name, the usual, and then just like what's my story, why am I here? Am I glad to be here? And just asked me questions like that, and then I played my song, and then they asked to hear another one, which I played an original for them after that. So yeah, and then they voted on me.
So, what was the first song, the cover that you did?
I did "Born on the Bayou" for that one, and then I did my original I wrote. It's called "The Miss Lou." It's about my hometown.
That's cool. So I'm curious about the kind of the feedback on the cover versus the original, and maybe some of the differences between their thoughts on the songs.
So when I did the cover, they really emphasized my originality. They wanted to make sure that I wasn't trying to mimic anybody. So they asked me to do an original song because it's kind of hard to mimic somebody with an original song. So I did that, and they were like, that told us a lot about you, and just they really emphasize on me originality and trying to be myself and not somebody else. And
Hmm.
they kind of actually asked me to learn a few newer songs, like newer, because I listen to older music all the time. So newer music, to expand my genre variety and everything. And I like that. Katy Perry asked me to do a Dua Lipa song in Hollywood, and I ended up doing it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was so out of your wheelhouse.
Yeah, and I never heard of Dua Lipa. I didn't know who it was. And
I
then
was
she
just gonna say
asked,
you probably. I was like, have you heard of her? I mean, funny enough, I listened to probably. I love pop music. I probably listened to four Dua Lipa songs yesterday, but I'm thinking to myself as I'm sitting here talking to you, is this guy heard of Dua Lipa? The old stuff. I mean, you were probably like a deer in headlights in that moment.
I had no idea who it was. And actually, I had a song set for my first round of Hollywood Week, and I was not going to change it. But then, I was thinking to myself, like, maybe I should do this song because they kind of asked for it. So
Hmm.
then, I learned it about maybe 3 hours before the Hollywood round, and then played it, and it kind of worked out.
Wow. Well, before we move on to Hollywood Week, I'm curious because you mentioned that it was very shocking to see so many talented people before you not get through. And of
Oh yeah.
course, everybody that's there, including yourself, is obviously very talented to make it that far. But given how nervous you were, given how, you didn't know if it was going to be easy to make this cut, what do you think the judges saw in you that really made you stand out enough to go to Hollywood?
I think that they saw, like, a little more uniqueness in my voice, that I
Mm,
was different than everybody else. At least my voice was, that I wasn't the same as everybody else there. Because a lot of people had great voices, but most of them sounded a little bit the same in their
hmm.
everybody's voices. So I think my uniqueness kind of set me out.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's neat too that there's a lot of people that come from a small town. They may not have the experience, and you've obviously been performing a lot, and you have musical influences in your family, so the music's in your blood. And I think that that's what's interesting too, is that we've got a range of all kinds of performers with no matter how many followers you have, or no matter how many people know your name because of where you live, and all those different factors. At the end of the day, sometimes what they're looking for may not always be what you expect. And so you go in there, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen, but again, they saw something in you, and that must have been pretty cool to get that golden ticket.
Yes, sir. It was awesome. I loved it.
So you get it, you get the ticket, and
Yes,
you
sir.
head to Hollywood, and that, talk about small town boy in LA. I mean, that's got to be quite a thrill.
That was just another story on itself. I had never seen anything like LA. There was no buttons on elevators. There was no light switches. I've never really been to a place where there's not really any meat, because we eat a lot of meat in town in the South, and there's a lot of vegan stuff in LA. And
Yeah.
I've never really been somewhere like that. But it was a different experience for sure. But I kind of enjoyed it.
That's great. Well, I mean, you talk about the memories you made in Austin, but now you're meeting probably at least three times the people. So
Mhm.
right away, I'm sure that you made some great connections when you got there.
Oh yeah. Well, they put us in a holding room with the contestants all together for a few minutes. And I kind of reconnected with some of the people I met in Austin that had made it through. And then they sent all the minors to school, and then we all just met each other and all kind of became friends over maybe like once, like 3 seconds. We were all talking and playing music and everything, and it was just a lot of fun.
Where do they have you go as far as like, is it just a holding room where you got your laptops? I mean, you're obviously not in traditional school, so it's probably a makeshift setup.
Yeah, they set out some tables and chairs and stuff, and they'll send us in a room. They have three teachers there that I think have been working there for a few years, and they'll come around and help you with whatever you need, and just get your work done and everything, and
Hmm.
just try to keep you up with to date with what's going on back home, so you don't fall behind.
Hmm. Gotcha. And so before the first round of Genre Challenge, this year they had the twist of having alumni mentors come back since it's the 20th season. And who was your alumni mentor?
David Cook, actually. David Cook, 'cause I was a part of the rock genre, so he was kind of he was the mentor that came back.
Hmm. And what did you think about that? I'm curious for you, just but being part of the genre challenge where they ask you to pick a line. You've obviously got, I think, a lot of different genre influences. Maybe there's some country there, and I don't know if blues is part of it. But so being in the rock line, what led to your decision that was the spot for you?
Well, I thought that was what's best suited me, as far as, because I think if they were looking for country, you got to be really country, and country is just like an element of my voice.
Right.
Soul kind of like an element. So I kind of stuck with rock because I feel
Yeah.
like that's like the basis of what I sing. I changed to do a Lipa song into a rock song, or tried my best to do that. Make it faster pace. Speed up the tempo a little bit and do stuff like that. It was "Be the One" by Dua Lipa.
Cool. And did you get a chance to perform that for David and work with him on that?
Actually, I did not.
Hmm.
They were very cut on time. I didn't get a chance to see David.
Hmm. Did you witness any of the mentoring between
Oh
him and other
yeah, he
contestants?
Cole Holman. I believe he was aired. I actually met him too while we were in the rock genre, because there was only about seven of us in our
Hmm.
line,
Wow.
because not many people picked rock genre. But um, Cole Holman, he helped him out with his song a little bit. Natalia Bonfini, who was my duet partner, I don't believe she got aired. He helped her out a little bit. She was actually a big David Cook fan. She was so ecstatic whenever he showed up. I think he only helped out about three or four of the people in our line. He talked to like our big group and everything and gave us advice.
Hmm. Anything stick out in particular about the group advice?
Yeah, he just told us to make sure stay on top of the workload, don't fall behind, because Hollywood Week's a rough week. That's where they really test you. And he said, just make sure that you don't fall behind, and you don't really try to overdo anything. Keep it a little simple, but at the same time, make sure that you do your work properly.
These guys, all these mentors, like they've been through the craziness that is Hollywood Week. It's a crazy time to be there. I mean, to watch at home, it's like you have no idea what it's like to actually participate. You know?
It's a big difference between seeing it on TV and seeing it in person. It's a big difference, and your heart's pumping and racing fast, and you can barely breathe, but it's a great experience.
Yeah. Genre challenge gets split into 2 days of filming. So were you day one or day two?
I was day one.
Well, going up on stage and singing "Be the One" by Dua Lipa. First of all, is there an extra layer of nerves on top of whatever you may have been feeling just because you were doing
Oh
something
yeah.
so out of your element?
I never performed songs like that. I've never even heard any Dua Lipa songs. So when they gave me that song, and I saw it on the list before because they gave us the list to pick from, and I saw it on the list, and that was the only Dua Lipa song on the list, and I was like, so I had "Can't You See" by the Marshall Tucker Band originally, and I had the Dua Lipa song, and it was sticking in the back of my mind. It was in my head, poking me. I was like, I should change this. Maybe I should change this. And I kind of felt like the producers were kind of pushing me to change it in my interviews because they were asking me questions like, "Why aren't you doing this song? Do you think you should do this song? Do you think
Hmm.
Katie asked you to do this song? Do you think you should do it because she asked you to do it?" So I was like, no, man, I'm just going to stick to what I know. I'm going to stick to my genre of music. I'm going to stick to my what I think I can get through with this. And so it kept on just hitting me in the back of my mind, like maybe I should change this. I should probably change this. So about I say 3 hours before I went up to play for the genre round, I talked to a producer. The minors hadn't left yet. They'll bring us on a separate bus to the Orpheum Theater. And I talked to one of the producers of the hotel we were staying at. And I was like, I need a song change. And she said, I don't know what I can do, but I'm going to try my best. And then we were sitting and holding, about to leave, and then I had somebody come up to me, and he said, "Hey, Bryce, your song change has been granted, so you can change your song and perform this one." So I did, and then I got there, and right as I was about to go on stage, none of the producers at the Orpheum knew that I was changing my song because I don't think it got through the grapevine or however you say it. I don't think the producer that I told the ones at the Orpheum.
Mm.
So then nobody knew I was changing my song, so I went out there and played it, and everybody was kind of shocked because they didn't know I had changed it.
Wow. So, I mean, it sounds like a lot of back and forth because you
Oh yeah,
were originally, it was told, Katy Perry said, like, oh, you should do this. And then you were back and forth. I mean, I guess it paid off, right? I mean, you made it through the round. What was
oh
the
yeah.
reaction in the room?
It definitely paid off. So the crowd actually kind of started interacting with the song, clapping and everything, and I actually got a standing ovation from the judges, which just made my heart warm up. And going off the stage, I kind of felt confident that I was like, maybe I made it through this round. I really hope I did, But then I was thinking, there's a lot of other talented people in my line as well. So maybe I shouldn't get my hopes up too high. But I really, just seeing the three judges stand up, really, that's an experience I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
And do you think that Katy really took notice given that you took her suggestion?
Oh yeah, when I announced that I was changing it, she started jumping up and raising her hands and stuff before I started playing, and was running around the judges booth.
Yeah, little moments like that, right? Katy Perry reacting that strongly
Yeah.
to a decision that you made. And that's pretty fun.
Yes, sir. It was awesome.
So yeah, so you make it through the genre challenge, and then I guess you're on day one, but you still got a long 2 days left of filming because you're in the audience, you're watching everybody perform. And I'm curious because I just talked to another day one genre contestant who made it through to duets. Is it kind of a relief to have kind of a day to just sit and then know that you're going through, or are you more nervous because you see more and more competitors, you see what you're up against?
That day that we got for the break, I was so glad I was day one because I don't know if I could have, been able to handle day two, like the anticipation and everything. And I was just so nervous before I played for the genre round. I don't know if I could have performed as well if I was day two. So I'm really glad I was day one because that extra day helped me out a ton.
Hmm. By the way, how did you feel about the whole platinum ticket thing? Were you like paying close attention to the fact that you had these three singers in the balcony, and did you know much about the twist yet?
Um, I didn't even know they were up there until somebody pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh!" And then they hadn't really told us what they were doing up there. I knew that they had got to miss the first round, but then I realized that they were taking notes on people to do for the duet round.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that was I thought it was a pretty good twist at home to watch when you all finished genre challenge and they said that they had the first dibs on their partner. So you guys are all sitting there probably wondering, could it be me?
Yeah, that was cool too. I was really hoping to get caught up there, but unfortunately, I didn't.
Hmm. Well, then you go into another room and the judges tell you who you're going to be paired with. And as you said, Natalia Bonfini is your partner. Had you guys met prior to that, or maybe you're off at
Oh, we
school?
actually did. She was in my line, so
Oh, that's right.
while they were holding us, we got to meet, and we actually liked the same music. She was kind of like the Janis Joplin,
Mm-hmm.
She really loved Janis Joplin, and she liked the Allman Brothers. She actually played an Allman Brothers song for her audition, and it's called Whip and Post, and I love that song. And she actually taught me how to play it
Oh
because I didn't
wow,
know how to play it, so that's how I figured out how to play it.
cool. And how did that rehearsal process go? Picking your song, first of all, what song did you pick for duets?
We picked "Lean on Me" by Bill Withers,
Mm.
and that song, no, I felt like we really could have if we had barely any time. We got back to the Orpheum at about I'd say, I mean the hotel from the Orpheum at about 9 o'clock. And minors legally in California, minors have to be off camera by 10
Mm.
legally, so we
Wow.
can't be on camera by at past 10. And cameras are flying everywhere, so you can't really do much without being caught on camera. So, we get our song, we pick it, and we stick to it. And we finally, we start rehearsing. And then we realize that we don't need. She plays guitar also. We were like, we don't need two guitars on this. Let's just do one. So I was going to play, and she was going to sing. And then we practiced it a bunch. And then we brought it to they gave us a vocal coach for this, and who actually played behind backup music for us. And then we went to him. His name was Mr. Mike, and he changed our whole arrangement of the song. We dropped both guitars, so we stuck with piano, and then he put a key change in it for us, and he kind of gave us our spots on when to sing and when not to sing for each of us.
Mm. How did you enjoy being a part of that experience of actually getting to work with an industry professional for the coaching?
That really helped me a lot because that taught me a lot about what I need to look forward to
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to music professionality, and seeing a vocal coach telling fixing little problems, and I still actually try to fix those little problems and keep them fixed today
Mm-hmm.
from what Mr. Mike told me while I was there. So still being able to use the critiques he gave me today is a great thing.
Oh yeah. Next day, duet round. Are you early in the day, later in the day, middle of the day?
I think we were a little earlier in the day,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they did all the minors first.
Yeah.
I think we were I think 11th out of
Mm-hmm.
all the duets. And they give you the results right away, which was scary because we were, I think everybody before us had made it through,
Mm-hmm.
and we were the first ones who didn't. I'm pretty sure. They gave us feedback, a little bit. They were like, well, we've seen both of you grow over this competition. They gave me little critiques and stuff, and really what they emphasized on me was being more of myself, just making sure I'm not trying to imitate anybody else. And they said that my age, I was
Mm-hmm.
16 at the time when I did the competition, and they said that my age is really what got to me. They said
Mm-hmm.
I need to grow as an artist, get a little bit more experience.
I'm wondering too. I mean, you went from just auditioning in front of the three judges to then performing in front of all these people, and you're all there for the same common goal, but it is a pretty big audience, and I guess we'll talk in a minute about how big of an audience you performed for outside of the show, but what was it like performing in front of all those other people?
The contestants, we got to perform in front of the contestants, and that actually helped a lot. Because
Yeah,
crowd interaction helps with stage performance.
sure,
So
yeah.
contestants, I mean, everybody was helping each other and gifting each other up, and just trying to make, because nobody wants anybody to get eliminated. Everybody wants everybody to make it through, but it just can't
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Right.
Everybody was cheering everyone on, just trying to help everybody the best way they can.
We obviously know that you've got years of music under your belt, and I'm sure you've done a lot of gigging, and I know you're still pursuing music today. I mean, I'm excited to hear about what you've been up to since the show. So why don't you fill us in on that?
Yes, sir. Well, since the show, I've actually, after my Austin audition, actually, I'm signed with a company called PCG Artist Development in Nashville. They're stationed in Nashville, LA, and Austin. And right away, they gave me a vocal coach and a songwriting coach and a media guy, and a publicist, and stuff like that. Just the basic needs of every musician, and they have just coached me along the way and everything. And I've actually got a song that's supposed to come out on Spotify and Apple Music and all platforms. So that should be awesome. I've got another song that's in development. Just try to get the music out there.
Yeah. Anything you want to tell us about the upcoming music?
it's kind of different than what I'm used to singing. I'm kind of trying to show a different part of myself with these songs, and just trying to be a good storyteller because the storytellers are the ones who always can get a good song written. But the first song I wrote, the first song I actually ever wrote was about a friend who had passed away in a car accident. And that song, I have a lot of trouble with lyrics, and that song was just kind of came to me out of
Hmm.
nowhere. And that was just an unbelievable thing that it just came to me, and I was just writing it down. And I love that song. It's probably one of my favorites I've written so far. And I just can't wait for that one to come out.
Yeah, well, I'm very sorry to hear that, and it's also, it is crazy how the strongest emotions, whether it can be pain or it can be joy, like it just pours out of you, and that's probably one of the most insane feelings as an artist to be like, wow. I mean, I don't know what your songwriting process is usually like, but I imagine that it can be rare that all of a sudden it just
Yeah.
literally all flows out at once.
Usually, it's the process is very slow, but when you're using your emotions, it's a lot easier to express yourself with
Mhm.
music than words. At least that's what I think. So, just being able to write it, just come to me like that was something I've never really felt before.
That's very exciting to hear about, all the development that you've had going on, and since being signed. I mean, what do you think has changed? I mean, what's really been exciting about getting to work with all these people?
So the exciting part about it is, getting to really get I haven't really had any experience with, like stuff like that, like, big time musical professionals.
Hmm.
So really just getting this experience under my belt and making sure that, I'm getting prepared for, later, later on in my musical career, just, prepare myself for it is really what I'm focused on right now. And just, trying to get the basics down first before I really take a step into the big time or whatever you want to call it, or just trying to make my biggest stride. But just really gaining the experience right now is what I'm trying to do.
That's awesome. And American Idol, it definitely is just it's a step in your path, and even though you weren't aired, and no matter what happened in the competition, I'm sure that it's all part of the journey for you, and I'm curious
Oh
like
yeah.
how you think about that.
Even though I didn't get aired, American Idol still has helped me in ways I couldn't imagine.
Hmm.
Gigs after American Idol, they were shows were just popping up like that. I almost had a gig every weekend. Whenever I could play, I was playing. And that still happened. I'm actually getting a lot of gigs still from American Idol, and I had a lot of interviews, almost every local media station and radio network and newspaper, and even stuff in Jackson, Mississippi, and other places like Baton Rouge, Louisiana, stuff like that. Big cities a few hour drive away from here was. I was getting interviews from stuff like that. It even helped me in ways I couldn't imagine, even though it wasn't on American Idol.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. I mean, the power of just being associated, like, with the show. I mean, one social media post that says I auditioned can get you all the press in the world, and the towns hear about it, and next thing you know, it can. I mean, it kind of can change your life.
It really can, and small towns like this, word gets around quickly about everything. You can't really do anything without somebody not knowing about it. So, as soon as everybody heard American Idol stuff, people I've never really met were talking to me. But I was loving the experience. Being kind of somebody like that in the hometown's awesome.
Honestly, if you look at the show and people like Noah who just won or Carrie Underwood, the people from small towns often do very well. And then
Yeah,
people who even don't get aired, it's like, there's something about like I think it's the story of kind of thinking, oh, well, like this person's not from a big city, but don't doubt them because look what they can do. It's like, that people love that story, I think, and it's just something
100%.
about where you come from, and and it's also just so cool, I'm sure, to be able to make all those people back home proud,
Mhm.
and to be able
Oh
to,
yeah,
whether you're bringing home a trophy or you're just bringing home the golden ticket, or you're bringing back all that experience and the memories, that's something that everyone's going to remember, and you're certainly going to remember the rest of your life.
oh yes, sir. Of course, I'll never forget it.
Well, before we go, I just want to give you the chance because we're talking about new music. We're talking about, maybe any upcoming shows you have. I want to give you one last chance to plug your socials, and anywhere that people can go online to find you.
You can find me at Bryce McGlothin Music on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and I have a website, www.brycemclaughlin.com. Find new shows, upcoming shows, things about me and everything, just stuff like that. And just if you want to go follow me, if you want to try to hear some of my music, just listen to Spotify and Apple Music should be coming out soon. That should be awesome.
Awesome. Well, Bryce, thank you so much for being a part of American Idol Unaired. And guys, make sure to subscribe, rate, leave a review. If you can follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Idol Unaired Podcast. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.